This Cardinals team reminds me of last year's Cardinals remind me of the 2021 Detroit Lions. And I feel like this year we're not getting the 23 Detroit Lions, but we're getting the 22 Detroit Lions from the Arizona Cardinals.
Interesting.
Not in the same exact way. I'm not quite sure yet what their culture is, but I think their quarterback has taken a bit of a step maturity-wise. We're not really hearing we're not hearing about him. We're not hearing from him. I think the injury and the time back, the timeout, and Cliff leaving. I think Cliff. I love Cliff. He's one of my favorite offensive coaches. I think he was a bit of an enabler for Kyler. I think they had the wrong GM, and everybody clowned old boy, their head coach, for his team meeting. Remember that first team meeting where everyone clowned him and was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, that Philadelphia defense looked awful without him last year. I mean, he was the defensive Shane Steichen for Philly.
Looked terrible.
And you know what's interesting about the Cardinals? I did watch them play a decent amount last year. I didn't watch all their games, forgive me. Like, have some break on me. Like, I can't sit through that many Arizona Cardinal games.
Yeah.
But I watched them play quite a few games. I saw them beat Dallas. I saw them beat Philly. And the more important thing about them, there's two major things last year I saw. Really like three major things. I saw them compete. They played hard every week. I like they were very much the 21 Lions where it was like, holy shit, this team sucks. Why am I not mad about it? That's how I know you felt that way in 2021 watching Goff's
100%.
first year and Campbell's first year. It was like, this team is so bad, and I couldn't be more excited. It was like really weird, and Cardinals fans felt that a little this year. And when Kyler came back, he looked good off that injury, and he played really good football down the stretch. They have a tight end named Trey McBride, who I think is like quietly going to like this year. We're going to start talking about him and Laporta, and like maybe Kincaid we'll see, but like the new class of like Kelsey, Kittle, Wallers, like these Andrews. He's in that new tight end school, right? We'll see what Hawkinson does when he comes back from injury. But like, to me, he is that guy at tight end. They took Trey Benson quietly, and like nobody talked about it. James Conner's 29 years old, and he's probably not going to stay healthy. And he's probably not going to be. This is the end.
Well,
this is the end season. But you still have him. He's a tough guy. He's a culture guy. He's a veteran. You still have him there, but he's not going to be your RB. I think by midseason we're going to be talking about Trey Benson as a new, young, dynamic running back. He's really explosive, and he's strong, and he's physical. And now you have Marvin Harrison, who, in my opinion, is the generational talent in this draft. Not Caleb, not JJ, not Adunze, not Neighbors. Sorry, like I love those guys. It's no disrespect. I don't want to say it. You know, Marv's a Buckeye. I don't really root against Buckeyes. Once they leave Ohio State, I don't care. But you know what I mean. To me, he is the generational talent. And I think this year, this is going to be the team that we look at, like the 22 Lions, where it's like, okay, they started off kind of flat. They were losing games, but then they went on this like run midway through the year. And I think going into 2025, so not this year, but the next year, two things are going to be happening. We're going to be talking about Kyler again as a star quarterback. The second thing that's going to be happening is we're going to be talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. as JJ, CD, Jamar, like in that class of guys where it's like, who's the top five? And like we might be edging out like AJ Brown. That's like, sorry, you're out. Like Marv's in. Depending on how good he looks this year.
Yeah, I think Marv is going to look a lot like Devontae Adams.
So do I. But Devontae Adams took a couple of years to become Devontae Adams. I don't think it's going to take Marv as long.
No, he did. That's what I'm saying.
But the third thing is,
like I think he'll be
there. The third thing is, I think, too, like the Lions, right? Like remember going into this year, it was like, okay, what's our expectations for the Lions, right? Like win the division this year. It's a weaker division. Like win a playoff game. I think after this year, I don't think Arizona's making the playoffs this year in the NFC. But I think next year, I think we're going to be talking about them as potentially division winners because I think this is it. This is it for the LA Rams. I think Stafford
this
and
is
McVay,
it for the Niners too.
I think the Niners.
I think this is it for the Niners.
I think the Niners are going to have to. I think this is the last year. I actually have a hot take we'll get to when we do preseason breakdowns. I like the Rams over the
Sure.
Niners this year in that division.
Sure. Yeah.
Seattle, I don't really know what to make of them yet. We'll see. But I think that division is going to be kind of a heavyweight veteran punch out between LA and San Francisco next year. And then both teams are going to
Totally
lose a
agree.
lot of pieces. Stafford might retire. McVay
Yep.
might walk away. Cup is done. And
Yep.
it's going to be like, okay, it's a full reset in LA now. San
Yep.
Francisco is going to
Yep.
lose some of these pieces. Debo gets traded, right? Purdy's
Yep.
owed money. Kittle retires
Yep.
or
Kittle's
does like
gone.
one more
Trent
year
Williams is
with like a
gone.
contender, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to be talking about Arizona as like the new Detroit Lions, not in the same exact
Yeah.
way, right? Not like 1-to-1, but in the same
Yeah.
way of
I know what you
like,
mean though.
I think this team's coming. And I watched this draft and I look at this team and I'm like, is this team going to be good?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just
I think so,
think
man.
they're going to be good, and it's all going to come down to whether or not Kyler can stay healthy. That's the big one. But you
Yeah.
know what? I'm not that
100%.
worried about Kyler's character anymore. I just trust that with this new
No, I'm not
coach,
either.
with these new pieces, and with him having been humbled, like I think he's going to come out and have a really good season, and I think Marv is going to have
Yeah.
a really good season. I think McBride's going to have a good season. I think Benson's going to come onto the scene as a new running back. And I think that defense, they took an edge, Darius Robinson, I think.
Yeah, with their second pick.
Yeah, and I think the defense is going to be good because I trust their coach knows how to run that defense. And I
Yep.
just think next year, I know it's not that exciting to be like, they're not going to be a playoff team, but I think they're going to win 8-9 games and flirt in that next tier of the NFC. And then going into the 2025 season, we're going to be talking about primarily, is Marv the best receiver in football? Or are we still giving it to Tyreek or Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar? And then number two, like, is this the team in the NFC West this year? That's kind of my –
No,
I don't know.
It's a good take.
I had to talk about them
take.
because to me, that's the generational player in this draft. That's the Calvin Johnson.
Yep. No,
Not
I
any of
agree.
these other
I
guys.
totally
No
agree.
disrespect.
No, I totally agree.